If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, oh yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Really? Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon here with you, talking about a whole bunch of different stuff that went on as we're collectively suffering a WrestleMania hangover here on this April 20th. Rob Van Dam and a few others' favorite holiday, and we'll definitely be, well, we'll delve into that a little bit, but to take a page from Lance Storm's book, if I can be serious for a minute, obviously what's been on a lot of people's mind is the events that have occurred over the course of the past week, the Boston Marathon, and it's even made its way into the wrestling community. Of course, John Cena from a suburb outside of Boston, Newbury, Massachusetts. He didn't mention anything on Raw, but he did make his presence and feelings felt on Twitter right after Raw, taking to Twitter to comment on the bombings in Boston that took place Monday. He said, "An evening of WWE entertainment overshadowed by an afternoon of horrible tragedy. Hashtag pray for Boston." So, I mean, obviously, it's been a roller coaster of a week. It seems like there's been so much news going on with it bit by bit that it's been hard for me to even keep up with it. It's almost like Piper. Just when I think I have the answers, more questions are being thrown out there, and different ones as well. We'll get to the phones in a minute. We've got some Facebook feedback, but a lot of stuff to go over with WWE and a little bit with TNA as well. And we'll get to both of those. But one of the things that a lot of people were wondering how it was going to be handled, Ryback discussing why he attacked John Cena at the end of the previous week's Raw, and he actually he had a pretty notable speech, and I've got it right here for you.
April 7th, 2013, WrestleMania. It was the greatest night of your career, John, and it was the worst night of mine. You beat The Rock. You found your redemption and won the WWE title. Good for you. You were on top of the world, and I was on the bottom. Only one place to go for both of us, John. Me up, you down. There must be so many questions swimming through your head. Why, Ryback? What did I do? Or maybe you know, John. Maybe you saw it in my eyes before I took your head off last week. But really, what choice did I have? After everything I've been through, to find myself the day after WrestleMania staring up from the bottom of the ladder again, that was not gonna happen. But I'm getting ahead of myself, John. You're probably thinking, I helped that guy out. I took him under my wing, and this is how he repays me? You did reach out to me when I came into the WWE. You told the WWE Universe that this Ryback is my friend, and he's an okay guy. I remember he even gave me your title shot when you were injured, which I think more people wish you were more often. You made me feel like I belonged. You offered me a seat at the table, and you promised me that you would always have my back. What's obvious to me now is that a friendship with John Cena is nothing more than a promise of living in the shadow of John Cena. I am not an afterthought. I am not a sidekick, and there is no light bright enough, not even the spotlight commanded by John Cena, to eclipse the force known as Ryback. If you are Superman, say hello to Kryptonite. How many times, Cena? How many times when you were on your road to redemption did you leave me to fend for myself? Where were you? Where were you when I was so close to my WWE championship that I could taste it. You said I could trust you. You said you had my back. 6 times, John. 6 times I was attacked by the Shield. Where were you? Designing your latest t-shirt? Where were you? But the 3 times you were attacked, I was there every time. But I understand. You had priorities. You were focused on one goal, winning back the WWE title. You got lucky at the Royal Rumble, and you grabbed your place at the table. And then in Elimination Chamber, you left me alone in the ring to fend off the Shield by myself. Again, because you were on your way. You saw that golden prize at the end of the road, and good for you, John. You did what you set out to do. You're the big winner. Last week while you stood in the ring and you made your little jokes, I stood in the back and watched you act like no one else deserved to be there. Like I didn't exist. Like that title didn't rightly belong to me. I stood back there and waited for you to say something. To admit that you were only there because I wasn't. You tried to keep me in your shadow. You tried, John. But last week I showed you that I'm stepping out of it. And you will have to see me for what I am. And what I am, John, is the biggest threat to your WWE title reign ever. Ryback rules.
Ryback rules indeed. Having some discussions here with Starship Matt, and sometimes you lose track of things a little bit. But yeah, Ryback taking umbrage with John Cena not really coming to his aid necessarily when he was getting attacked by the Shield, and that's kind of the motivation for him going after Cena, as well as, oh, by the way, Cena's the WWE champion. So we'll get your thoughts about that. You can certainly chime in 215-949-3232 or toll free at 888-922-2149. One other thing that I want to get into, and I know we talked a little bit about it last week when we were on the road at Senator Tommy Tomlinson's Children's Expo. It was a great time out there, but the Fandango craze and how it pretty much came to a screeching halt this past Monday on Raw. Whereas the WrestleMania fans, the hangover there up in North Jersey, fans were all into it. They obviously created it. Didn't quite make its way down to Greenville, South Carolina for this past Monday's Raw. There were a few who got it, but it was barely audible in the crowd, and you can go one of two ways with it, and I've got that coming up for you here in a second. But you can either look at it as WWE was trying to catch the wave of popularity with it and ride it, or they wanted to go completely against the grain because it's not what they wanted, and they were just trying to make it as uncool as possible, as quickly as possible, so they can go back to the plan that they wanted. I don't know. We'll give it a listen here. This is from this past Monday on Raw. Here's Fandango.
Who here tonight wants to go Fandangoing with me? Do you people right here, do you want to go Fandangoing, huh? Do ya? What about these people right here? Do you want to go Fandangoing? What? What about you? Do you want to go Fandangoing? You? Do you want to go Fandangoing? Before we go Fandangoing, I need for you to do one thing. And that's pronounce my name correctly. It goes like this. Fun. No. Fun. Done. No. You need to breathe in the A's. You gotta breathe in the A's. Done. Cool. Now put that all together. Put it all together. What do you get? Fun, done, goal!
It's a tutorial.
It's quite obvious that you cannot pronounce my name correctly. So you can all go Fandango yourselves.
Yeah, does anybody else feel like the wind was completely taken out of the sails out of that? It's almost like the reaction from 2 weeks ago. Vince McMahon was in the back and he was just saying,
this whole thing is embarrassing. It really is.
So he decided, you know what? I'm just going to go against the grain.
It's mine. I created it. I'm going to kill what I created. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill my creation. I'm going to inject what I created with a lethal dose of poison. If anybody's going to kill my creation, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that kind of sounds about where Vince McMahon was going on that. You people are supposed to boo Fandango. You're not supposed to cheer him. What the hell do you think you're doing? It's almost like that's what he was thinking. It almost seems that way, or either that, or it's like, you know, your dad trying to get into something that's cool, and then it becomes uncool because your dad finds it cool. One of those type deals. And Starship Matt, you're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've probably been on the other side of that.
It also sounds like a Christian Bale Batman impression there.
A little bit.
You Dark Knight fan at all? You ever see those?
A little bit. See, I'm sorry. When you say Christian Bale, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Terminator Salvation rant, which I don't even think I can play a little bit of that on here.
I think you got to get 1 second snippets there.
Yeah, exactly. What don't you... Well, never mind. We're just going to stop there. Also, a programming note, we're going straight on through until 1:15 today, where we've got Trenton Thunder baseball. So we're going a full, roughly 75 minutes. Not even going to break for the top of the hour for news. We're just going straight on through. So plenty of time to certainly get in. And we're going to go ahead and keep things going with Larry, who's been hanging on. Larry from the Northeast. Welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Yeah, how you doing? Ron?
Yep, what's going on?
I've listened to you for a long time and finally get a chance to call you.
Oh, we certainly appreciate it. Glad to have you aboard.
Yeah, there's a show at the April 26th, the Hoyt Rec Center in Philly here.
Okie doke.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the heck it is in the Northeast. Is it in the Northeast or just somewhere else?
Oh, I thought you were telling me about it. I didn't realize you were asking me a question. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to figure out where the heck it's at in the Northeast. That was on Cottage Street or Cottage Avenue, Cottage Street.
Well, I can look. I can do a little bit of info. Take to the Google or somewhere on the interwebs there. See what I can find out about a show coming up. You said it's the 26th. That'd be this coming Friday.
Yeah, because it's Maven. Guy Maven is running it. It's his federation. It's a charity event. It's for the GI Bill, whatever that's about.
All right. I'll have to do a little bit of digging, see what I can find out about it. This is the first that I've gotten the chance to look at it here. Oh, here we go. It's amazing.
Yeah, I looked it up and I was on the CZW stuff, and they share all the CZW upcoming cards on last week, April 13th, there was a show, Voorhees.
Oh, okay.
And then on the 8th of June, there's a Tournament of Death in Townsend, Delaware, as well.
All right, here we go. This is again, the NBA wrestling event for charity. It's going to be this Friday, April 26th. The Maven Bentley Association, they're presenting GI Bill. It's going to be at the Vogt Rec Center. That's at 6700 Cottage Avenue in Philadelphia, 7 o'clock bell time.
Yeah, I figure where Cottage Avenue is in the Northeast. I know the Northeast, but I'm not sure where Cottage Avenue comes in at.
I was going to say, I would suggest some sort of a map website, either a MapQuest or a Google Maps, something like that. Because, I'm not too particularly familiar, but I'm sure you just type in 6700 Cottage Avenue, and it'll even give you directions from where you're at to that point. Technology is an amazing thing.
Did you ever see the NWA on Fire?
I can't say that I have.
It's on 51.2 on Friday nights at midnight. Pretty decent. Last night they had a bunch of old stuff, the old black and white tapings with Killer Kowalski and Buddy Rogers.
Oh, nice. That's going back quite a ways.
Yeah, there's a lot of old stuff there. And when is this? Is there another Son of Mania coming up this year?
I haven't heard anything from George as of yet. I know he's, he, like a lot of us, are kind of recovering from the WrestleMania weekend and everything that was going on with it. There was a bunch of stuff up in North Jersey. I know. Yeah, I know he had some stuff here locally. He's been kind of expanding a little bit. He's been doing a little bit of wrestling stuff, a little bit of stuff with the Phillies, a little bit of stuff with the Flyers. Just recently, had a couple of Flyers out as well as a couple of Phillies. I think Eric Kratz, the at least for now starting catcher until Carlos Ruiz is finished his suspension. He was up there not too long ago. They don't have anything announced or upcoming as of yet, but I'm sure once they do, you're going to definitely hear about it here. I mean, George, longtime friend of the show, and love the stuff they're doing over at George's Cards and Collectibles.
Yeah, I had gone a couple years back, but I didn't miss the last couple. I missed the last year or so. But I had gone like about 2 years ago. The last one I went to was pretty decent.
Don't worry. When George announces it, this will be one of the first places that you'll hear about it. We've got a good rapport like that.
Well, you're the only show I ever listen to. I don't know of any others that's out there.
And that's part of why we're the longest running. 14 years and change.
You and Eric Gargiulo. I met him at the Bristol event one year. We were talking wrestling back and forth and up to a car and whatnot.
Yeah, Eric, what can I say? If not for him, I wouldn't be here right now. So I owe him a lot, and I'm glad to see that things are doing well with him, his Camel Clutch blog, and getting the whole family thing going on.
All right, there's the NWA on Fire. They have a Ken Reedy show. It's on KenReedy.com at 9 p.m. on Sunday. I think it's 9 p.m. Sundays.
All right, I'll have to see what I can do about giving that a look.
Right, and it's on Tuesdays. The AM Radio 1640 thing with Ken Reedy. I think it's like 8 o'clock at night on Tuesdays. That's
okay.
Decent.
Yeah. There are some things hopping and bopping around. Anyway, I gotta get rolling. Thanks so much for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely chime in again.
Thank you for the time.
Oh, no problem, Larry. Thank you. Always good to get some new and different feedback in here. You never know where things are necessarily going to go. Anyway, some different news and notes. We'll talk a little bit about that. Get your thoughts on the Fandango craze, which I have a hunch. I don't know. I think it's going to kick back up, at least for this coming Monday when Raw is in London, where, of course, Fandango Mania exploded right after WrestleMania a couple of weeks ago. In fact, the theme, Fandango's entrance theme, I think it peaked as the second most downloaded song on iTunes in the UK.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean it's going nuts over there.
Now, why London? What?
Well, the UK in general. There were a lot of British fans who came over across the pond to see WrestleMania, and kind of a European tradition, for lack of a better term. I know that you're not. Well, I don't think you watch a whole lot of soccer matches or anything like that. I know you watch a lot of sports, but soccer, I think, is one of the few that you.
Soccer's
that you
definitely bottom of the priority list.
Bottom of is above or below auto racing.
Above that.
Above auto. Okay, yeah. Had to throw that one out there.
I think the poker tournament is above above
Oof.
auto racing.
Duly noted. But anyway, if you watch a lot of the European, the Premier League, things like that, a lot of the fans in the stands, they have various songs all throughout the soccer match. So there's constant. It's like a singing chant almost.
The Green Street Hooligans. That's how you can get it a little bit from there.
Yeah, there's a little bit from that. The Sons of Ben do a little bit with the Union here in Philadelphia.
Right.
Little shout out to my buddy Matt Conashani, who's one of the Sons of Ben out there. He's been trying to get me to go out to a game, and the problem is they're usually on Saturday afternoons, and I've got my obligations here at BCB. So
Morpheus just can't make it.
Yeah, well, there's that too with the Wings. We'll see how they're doing. They've got their last game of the season tonight. Them winning and a Rochester loss, they'll get a home playoff game. But let's not delve. Yeah, we've gone from wrestling to soccer to lacrosse in about 90 seconds here. So let's see if we can get back on track here. But anyway, all those, that singing culture is kind of ingrained in the Europeans. So when they've come over to here, and especially since they weren't really all that entertained by the Sheamus and Randy Orton match that went like 15 minutes on Raw a couple of weeks ago, the fans decided to entertain themselves by singing the Fandango theme, again with no music, just kind of like chanting along, just like you would see at a soccer match. And that just kind of, YouTube videos started happening, and it just started exploding.
Gotcha.
I mean, I mentioned on last week's show that there's a YouTube video of the Houston Texans cheerleaders Fandangoing. And then PETA, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, they did a 30-second YouTube commercial where they want people to Fandango vegan.
Okay.
And they have a bunch of animals in costume doing the Fandango. Yeah. Oh, you did see what they did there?
I see it.
Okay.
I think I got it.
That's brilliant work by you, Starship Matt.
PETA, always up doing good things over there.
They're doing interesting things, and whether they're good or not, well, that's a whole nother story for another day. All right, let's. The other big story: CM Punk addressing the public for the first time since losing to The Undertaker at WrestleMania 29, and his tone was interesting to say the least. Here's a bit from that clip.
For 434 days as WWE champion, I couldn't enjoy the ride because I was always looking around the corner at what was next. The WWE Championship meant the world to me. It was everything I dedicated my life to attaining. But I wanted that next challenge, and I found that challenge in The Rock. And as I battled somebody who will arguably go down as one of the greatest superstars of all time, I still wanted more. And I looked till tomorrow. I wanted to know what the next hurdle in my career was, because I'm never satisfied with what I'm doing. I always want to do better. I always want to be bigger. I always want more. So after being champion for 434 days, where do you go? After battling the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, where do you go? And I looked to the one thing that could possibly be bigger than the championship I love so much, the one thing that would be bigger than wrestling The Rock, and that was taking on the streak at WrestleMania. And I pushed The Undertaker to the limit.
And that's where Punk fell silent, as he then he lowered the microphone, went over, gave a hug to Paul Heyman, and just left the ring and left fans wondering, where's he going? How long will he be gone? What's next for CM Punk? It's amazing how saying very little also seems to say a lot, and also leads to a lot of questions. It's very simplistic in nature, but it leaves people intrigued. And based on what CM Punk was saying, there are certainly a lot of questions to that. After holding the WWE Championship for 434 days, after, challenging The Rock, one of the all-time greats, after attempting unsuccessfully to end The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, where do you go from here if you're CM Punk?
Wish I could tell you. I don't know.
I know. I totally threw that to you, and you were just like, I barely know a wrist. I know a wrist lock
Heard
from
of
a
him a
wrist
couple
watch.
times. Yeah, there you go.
What the heck are you asking me for? I don't know. I'm throwing things out there.
It's got to make it dramatic, though. It's who he is. The little I've heard about him from you and through the weeks here and now months, seems like he's a little flair for the dramatic, CM Punk, and this just kind of
adds to that.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Meanwhile, Paul Heyman, he's got Brock Lesnar, his other client that he's working on, and the gauntlet that's been thrown down for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view coming up in about a month, I believe. We're about 29 days away, so there's still plenty of time to set up matches. But it looks like since Triple H beat Lesnar at WrestleMania and Lesnar beat Triple H this past August in SummerSlam, now they're looking for a rubber match, and they're looking for it to be in a steel cage. That is the challenge that has been thrown down, and we'll see if this Monday in London, if Triple H will respond and accept that challenge, seeing as he's already beaten Lesnar in a match where his career was on the line. We'll see where things go next. Are you excited for a possible Triple H, Brock Lesnar 3? I don't know. The things seem to happen in trilogies. I don't know if this is necessarily a good one. We'll talk a little bit more about Extreme Rules on the other side. Also, we might have to bring it home a little early as we've got Ed the Showstopper on the line. We'll get to him coming up on the other side as well. And more of your calls, Facebook feedback, and a ton of news and notes, a lot of it rock-related, and a lot of other notes as well. Also, some ECW news. We'll talk a little bit about that as well, and more of your phone calls. 215-949-3232, toll free at 888-922-2149. Also, there's the Facebook fan page, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Like us on there, and you can put your opinion on there, and if it's clean enough to make air, because I know there have been a few not-so-clean ones to not make air over the course of the last couple of weeks. But yet, Fandango telling people to Fandango themselves, that somehow made it with no problem. So, I don't know. I guess it's a matter of cleverness. But you can feel free to check us out there, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. And, of course, we have archives of the show. Yes, I know I'm a couple weeks behind. Yes, I'm working on it. Got the last couple of weeks. I'll get those up hopefully by the end of this weekend. And I'll put a message up on the Facebook fan page when they're ready to go. Usually I get these done in the overnight, but I'm not on the overnights anymore. So I got to find some other time to get in here to put all that together. It's not like I have a crack staff. I am the crack staff.
And every now and then find an hour or two to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no rest.
For you, that's a good night.
For me, that is a good night. No rest for the weary here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.